Hello people, welcome back to my channel Study with Nandu, and this is the another lecture on the subject of human resource management. So this is a continuation of last video where we have discussed about recruitment definitions, objective and sources of recruitment, right? So if you're watching my video first time, then you can refer to previous video. You can go through my description. There you will find the link of all the previous videos. So here we will be discussing about process and factors affecting recruitment process. Okay, what we'll be discussing process of recruitment and factors affecting recruitment, right? Let's start. So in recruitment process total we have 5 steps. First one is recruitment planning, right? Identifying recruitment sources, contacting sources, application pool and selection process. Okay, so let us understand this. So first is recruitment planning. Okay, in this step we focus on how many employers we need, what should be their qualification, what should be their experience, job location, etc. Okay, because in recruitment advertisement we have to give every detail, like number of vacancies we have, what type of vacancies we have, like full-time, part-time, and what's the role, skills needed, and its designation of job vacancy, yes, and its location, and then experience, etc. Everything we need to plan accordingly, and we need to plan priorly also. Okay, this is recruitment planning. We need to plan priorly everything. Okay, job vacancies, what type of job, its designation, its location, its experience, its skills, everything comes under this recruitment planning. Second is identifying recruitment sources. Okay, recruitment sources I've discussed in the last video, right? We have two types of sources. First one is internal and second one is external. So in this step, once we're done with recruitment planning, we need to analyze whether to recruit from the internal sources or to from external sources. Okay, so internal sources means within the organization, and so if we find any, we recruit and provide training to them based on the requirement. So if not, we go for external recruitment, that is we search the employees out of the organization. Okay, so once we identify the recruitment sources, once we decide from where to recruit, we try to contact them. Okay, so in this step we try to contact the sources. Okay, we try to contact the sources, like how we want to recruit employees. It may be either from campus placement, okay, going to colleges and recruit them, campus placements, we call it as campus placement, right? Or to contact with any labor one, or to contact any recruitment agencies, or through social media, through Naukri, through LinkedIn, etc. Okay, so this is contacting sources. In this step we try to contact the sources, we try to contact the employees. Okay, now sorry, people. Now next is application pool. In this step we create an application pool. Okay, once we receive applications, like if we have 10 vacancies in the organization. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah, so if we have 10 vacancies in the organization, okay, so we create a pool of 100 people. Okay, so we create a pool of 100 people, right? So once we create a pool, more than 100 applications, and we select the best one from this pool. Okay, so this is application pool. Fifth one is selection process. So once we create a pool, we select the best applications from this pool. We have a different concept in selection process. We will be discussing this in the next videos. Okay, so this is all about recruitment process. So how many steps we have? 5 steps: recruitment planning, identifying recruitment sources, contacting sources, application pool, selection process. This selection process we will be discussing in the next video in detail. Okay, hope you understand the recruitment process. Next, factors affecting recruitment process. Okay, so there are two factors which affect the recruitment process. Okay, which is external factor, internal factor. Okay, let us understand in detail about these two factors, like what factors are affecting recruitment process. Okay, so let's learn that. So these are the factors which affects the recruitment process. Which is first is external and internal. So in external, we have labor market conditions, supply and demand, unemployment rate, image or goodwill, political, social, legal, environment, competitors. So these are the factors for external. These are the external factors which affects the recruitment process. So human resource planning, recruitment policy, size of the firm, cost. These are the internal factor which affects the recruitment process. So let us discuss one by one all these factors in detail. Right. First is external factor. Okay. These factors occur outside of the organization and they cannot be controlled by the organization. Okay, so external means out of the organization. So organization can't control them, obviously. So the external factors which affect recruitment are as follows: labor market condition. Okay, the state of the labor market impacts the availability of qualified candidates, and the availability of talent can vary depending upon the geographic locations. Okay, so whenever we talk about it, IT sector, okay, so the employees who work for the IT sector from any organization, small or big, or from any location, they come under the same labor market. Okay, so every industry is having its own rules, own regulations, where we need to follow them, right? So if we are looking for the specific skill or specific knowledge, specific criterias in recruitment, but there are no job seeker who possesses that requirement, who possesses that skills, its qualification, right? Then we check for the manpower from different location. Okay, for suppose I'm looking for the candidate who is familiar with artificial intelligence, okay, who is good in artificial intelligence, but I'm not finding it in my locations, which is Hyderabad location. Okay, so I'm not finding a good candidate. So what I'll do, I'll check for the candidates who also locate in Bangalore location, who also, just give me a second, please ignore my writing. So what I'll do is I'll also check for the candidate who is from Bangalore location, right? So here the location also matters. The geographic location also depends on the availability of talent, which it is a factor which also affects the recruitment process. Okay, so if we are not finding in a particular location, we try to find out the persons from the another location. This is labor market condition. Supply and demand. So the availability of manpower both inside and outside of the organization is an important factor in recruitment process, obviously, right? Here, so once we start a recruitment process, what we check how many people we have already, right? And how many people we required, still how many people we required. Yes, so this is supply and demand. Here, if demand of the professionals in the company is more and supply of professionals in the market is low, then the company will have to rely on internal sources by training and developing employees. We need to analyze the demand in the market. So in market, what's the demand? Okay, because sometimes what happens is for few profiles we have a great supply. Okay, for few profiles we have a great supply but in the market, but the demand of that profile will be low. Okay, supply will be high and the demand will be low. On the other hand, some profiles have more demand, but there are less supply in the market, right? More demand, but less supply. Hope you understand, right? So if for some profiles, there will be a more supply, less demand. For some profiles, there will be a more demand, less supply. More supply, less demand. Yeah, less demand, more supply. Clear? So the profiles which are having more demand but there are less supply in the market, so in this case what company will do, it will depend on the internal employees, okay, and provide training to them based on the requirement if there is a less supply. Okay, this is supply and demand. Next is unemployment rate. So what is unemployment? What do you mean by unemployment here? The situation of not being able to find a job. Yes, so if the people are still searching for the job, they don't have a job in their hands. Okay, so that we called as unemployment rate. So if a low unemployment rate indicates tight labor market. Okay, so making it more difficult to attract and hire qualified candidates. See, for if the economy is doing very badly, if the economy is not good, if it is doing very badly, then organization will terminate the employees, right, because of low economy, and they also ask them to leave the job. Then the number of people who are looking for the job in the market will be more, right? That means the unemployment rate will be high. Hope you understand. I'm just repeating once again. If the economy is doing very badly, then the organization will terminate the employees. Yet they'll remove the employees from the organization or they'll ask them to resign the job. Okay. So what happens? The number of people in the market who are looking for the job will be high. Yes, that means the unemployment rate will be high. And if the economy is doing good, then there are more employees are needed, right, to work, where the unemployment rate will be low. Yes. So it will be difficult to find a qualified candidates in this case. If the unemployment rate is low, then that will make us difficult to find the qualified candidate. Yes, next is image or goodwill. Employer's image can also act as a barrier for recruitment. The activities of the organizations are the basis for building organizational image. So hope you understand this. So let's take an example here. For suppose here I'm looking for a job. Okay. So what will be my first priority to work in a good company, right? So which is having a good reputation, good image. That company I'll be choosing. Yes, like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Cognizant, etc. Right? So image is also an important factor here. Hope you understand it. I'll be choosing the organization which is having a good image. Okay. It becomes easier to attract and retain employees for an organization if it has a positive image and goodwill as an employer than for the organization with negative image, right? So if we try to build the organization image good, then it will be easier to attract people to apply for the job, right? So and also it will be easier to retain the employees in the organization. So if the organization image is bad, if it is in a negative impact, then obviously people don't apply for it, right? Next is political, social, legal environment. So recruitment policies are directly influenced by various government regulations, and these impact various aspects of the recruitment practices. Uh, in aspects of the recruitment practices laws prohibiting discrimination in hiring based on race, religion, gender, age, or disability must be followed. So whatever the laws, rules, regulations, or any discriminations are given by the government under employment, you need to follow them. Example, like we all know that first reservation for job must be for SC, ST people or physically handicapped people, right? So we have to give them priority according to the law. So if you think that particular person under this category is not a good fit, it's not matching the skills, knowledge, and if you found the another person who is matching with all the skills and knowledge according to the requirement, then also you need to take the person under those categories. You need to give priority to them because the government has made a rule to be followed. So this is political, social, and legal environment. Next is competitors. The level of competitions for talent can significantly impact on recruitment process. Industry competitors, locations, employer branding can influence the recruitment policies. So the competitors also impacts the recruitment process. Okay, so sometimes what happened is we copy the recruitment policy of the competitors, right? Like how they are recruiting from where, and also we influence by them. And also sometimes we create best model than the competitors, right? So organizations compete with other companies in the industry for qualified candidates, okay? So they try to compete with other industries for qualified candidates. Okay, and next is here we have location also. Its desirable locations may have an advantage in attracting more candidates. I've told you, right? If there are some locations which is like familiar, or we can find more candidates for some specific skills. Okay, so desirable locations also have an advantage in attracting talent. So employer brand, a strong employer brand can also help the organization to stand out from the competition and attract more people, attract top talent. Hope you understand this external factors. Okay, so next we have internal factor. Internal factor means inside the organization. The factors occurs inside the organization and are controlled by the organization. So the internal factors here, the internal factors which affect recruitment are as follows. First is human resource planning. Let us understand this. This factor helps to forecast how many employees are to be recruited, like number of employees here, and their qualification and also their experience. So it helps in determining the gap present in existing and required manpower of the organization. That means first we check for internal recruitment. Okay, so if we have one vacancies of 10 people, then if we found 5 from internal, then the gap is still more 5. Okay, so this more 5 we will be checking from the out of the organization. That means for external sources we will be checking. So it will help to determine the gap present in existing and required members. Still how many members are required? 5 more 5, right? So and required manpower of the organization. Next is recruitment policies. So what's the purpose of recruitment So any organization who create a policy for recruitment that influences a lot of decisions, okay, related to recruitment. So what's the source of recruitment, and what's the method you use, what the techniques you use. This all comes under the policy, recruitment policy. Okay, so once you create a recruitment policy, that will be a guide, or that will be a framework for the entire recruitment process. Okay, next. To develop organizational system, recruitment policy involves for implementing recruitment programs and procedures. So the main purpose of policy is to create a system. Okay, so it's to create a system for the recruitment and to improvise them, to develop them accordingly depending upon the requirement, and also to ensure that everyone is following that system. Fine. Next is size of the firm. So here the size of the firm also matters. It is also the important factor which affects the process of recruitment. So if the organization is small, then the recruitment process will be simple, and also it's a cost effective. Right? So if the organization is willing to increase its operations, or it's willing to expand its business, so it will plan for hiring more employees to carry out its business. So if it is organization is small, then the recruitment process will be simple. If the organization will be is large, and its documentary will be also large, and it requires more people, so the application pool will be more. Okay, so this is the size of the firm. Size of the firm also matters, and it is also the most important factor which affects the recruitment policy. Next is we have cost. Okay, so cost is also an important factor which affects the recruitment process. Okay, this is the uh, which comes under the internal factor. Okay, it's an important factor here. So here to select 5 candidates, okay, for suppose to select 5 candidates, we need more than 50 pool of talents. Okay, so we need more than 50 pool of talents here, right? So which occurs more cost, right? So organization will try to get candidates from sources which occurs less cost. Okay, see here, so the recruitment expenses are endured by the employer, endured by the employer, right? So therefore organization try to make use of that source of recruitment which gives more output and less cost. Okay, so organization will try to get the candidates from sources which occurs less cost. Suppose we have LinkedIn, Naukri, these all are online applications, right? So we select them on online, right, online platforms. We perform virtual interviews, and we directly contact them without any mediator, right, which will be easy for us and also in less cost as compared to what we are doing earlier practices, right? So here the cost is important, but at the same time quality is also an important factor. That means getting the right people at right place at right time. Hope you understand this. Okay, next. So let's wind up this video here and continue in the next part. Till then, take care, bye bye, and thank you for watching this video. For more such related topics of human resource management, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.